The desert's echo. Nevada's sprawling deserts have always intrigued me with their vast emptiness and stark beauty. There's something about driving under a canopy of stars with nothing but the dark silhouette of distant mountains to give the horizon shape. It's peaceful, isolating, and on one particularly fateful night, terrifying. I was on a road trip, heading towards Vegas, when I decided to make a detour to catch a glimpse of the infamous Area 51. Just for a laugh, a story to tell. The lesser-traveled roads of the Nevada desert are eerily quiet, with only the occasional passing car to remind you that you're still tethered to civilization. As night drew closer, the road ahead seemed to stretch infinitely. My car's headlights were the only source of light, barely penetrating the overwhelming darkness. The radio was playing a soft rock station, which suddenly started crackling and was gradually replaced by a low hum. A deep, almost inaudible voice muttered something I couldn't understand. Dismissing it as interference, I turned the radio off. Driving on, I began to notice peculiar rock formations lining the road. They were tall, looming, and oddly symmetrical. The formations seemed to change shape when observed from the corner of my eye, morphing into dark figures with elongated limbs. But whenever I tried to focus on them, they returned to their rigid, stone-like state. Suddenly, my car's electronics went haywire. The headlights flickered, the dashboard lit up with warning symbols, and the engine's roar transformed into a soft purr. The vehicle slowed, refusing to accelerate, and finally gave one last jolt before stopping completely. I was stranded. Alone. In the middle of the Nevada desert at night, the air grew cold, an unnatural chill for the desert, and a dense fog began to envelop the car. I reached for my phone, but it was dead. The last thing I remembered was it having a full charge. From the fog emerged shadowy figures, similar to the rock formations, but these moved fluidly. They circled my car, their whispers creating a cacophony of disjointed voices. Panicking, I locked all the doors and stayed low in my seat, hoping they wouldn't notice me. But they did. A knock echoed from the car roof, followed by another, then another, until it sounded like rain. The figures pressed their faces against the windows, their features shifting like sand dunes, forever changing, never settling. Their eyes, however, remained constant, bright, piercing blue, radiating an eerie glow. The whispers grew louder, more insistent. Words started to form from the jumbled sounds. Leave. Not your place. Go. Suddenly, a beam of intense light shot down from the sky, engulfing the car and the figures. It was blinding, even with my eyes shut tight. A high-pitched sound resonated, vibrating every fiber of my being. Just as abruptly as it had begun, it stopped. The darkness returned, but the figures were gone. My car's dashboard lights were stable, and my phone buzzed back to life, displaying multiple missed calls. I wasted no time. Starting the car, I made a U-turn, leaving behind the mysterious rock formations and any ambition of approaching Area 51. The soft rock station returned, now playing a cheerful tune as if mocking my harrowing ordeal. When I finally reached a well-lit gas station, I took a moment to catch my breath. The attendant, a grizzled old man with deep-set eyes, walked over. "Rough night?" he asked, looking at my disheveled appearance. I hesitated, then decided to share my experience. When I finished, he didn't seem surprised. Instead, he nodded solemnly. "Should have stayed away from that stretch," he said. "Folks around here know better. That land ain't just desert. It's alive, remembers, and doesn't take kindly to intruders." He proceeded to tell me tales of countless others who had experienced similar events, of people who had vanished without a trace and strange lights that often danced across the night sky. I left Nevada with more questions than answers. But one thing was clear. There are places on Earth that defy understanding, where the boundaries between the known and unknown blur, and sometimes it's best to leave them undisturbed. The desert may seem silent, but it echoes with tales of the ages, and on that night, I became a part of its story.